Awesome. So in this video, we'll learn a little bit more about what drew Karen to this role, what keeps her there, and what the challenges are. So I'm curious, Karen, what are your favorite parts of your job?
Speaking to people, my favorite part of my job is learning about new businesses, learning about the businesses that I work with, and talking to their founders, their directors who have so much passion for what they do, and then finding a way to make it work financially. So the interactions, the conversations, those are my favorite parts.
Yeah, and that connecting with people. I'm curious, what's something new you've learned recently from the folks you work with?
From my clients,
Yeah.
I've learned that it takes a lot of endurance when you're starting a new business to really believe that you can get the money that you need to get where you want to go to. It takes a lot of rejection, it takes a lot of willpower, it takes a lot of determination.
Yeah, that strength and resolve. Well, and I'm curious, as someone who started your own business, what type of person do you see who does well in that type of venture?
To start your own business, you really have to have a little bit of belief in yourself. You also have to have proactive the proactive skill. I've worked with a lot of different people through a lot of different organizations, and I can see people who are typical employees and people that are typical entrepreneurs that are going to go out and get it themselves. I've always been proactive, even when I was a permanent employee. That's why people enjoyed working with me. But you've got to be proactive in nature and really eager to make it work. Self-determined and a bit of a problem solver as well, I would say, are the key things that someone needs to step out and really do it on their own.
Yeah, proactive, self-determined problem solving. And so what about the opposite? What are the folks where you've seen get into business and then things struggle or falter?
The people that get into business that struggle from an entrepreneur side of things are the people that don't want to delegate, and also ones that don't listen necessarily to advice or learn from the people around them. One of the most amazing things that I have learned and been grateful for in my journey is the people that I have met through my network and through traveling, through being in co-working spaces, and the skills that they've taught taught me or talked to me about, or just over lunch, the information that I get from people is incredible, and that's great for me to learn from.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing there is that joy in connecting and that almost fueling you to go out there and keep learning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really stepped back into the finance world when I realized there was a need for it through connections that I had in my network that were telling me, we need someone like you. I would hire you if you would do my finances. And I realized that I could help people and really help them deliver what they're trying to deliver. And because all these impartial conversations that were had over lunch, that basically led me to really step my game up and get back into finance in a big way,
Yeah.
and lead in that respect, which is scary, but it was necessary, it's needed.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting. I hear in that, problem solving and sort of self-determined space, also an ability to listen, right? And listen for, hey, the market needs this. I can provide this, and being willing to sort of match that need. I don't know if that lands for you, but that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, 100% lands for me is listening to the people around me who were telling me that it was needed. And that's also a big part of what I do in my day to day is listening to clients to find out what is needed. It's one of, I would say, the key skills I had already. In my corporate background, I worked sort of business partnering. So I was the translator between the business and the finance department. And so I was always listening from all the perspectives and being the central like pawn between the two to make sure that people were understood from all different perspectives. So that works for me with my clients a lot as well, because I can meet them at their level, and it works for me from a networking point of view as well.
Yeah, well, and I hear so much self-awareness going into how you build your business, right? You mentioned that sort of personal growth and business building intertwining.
Yeah, I actually, part of my development into where I am now involved a lot of yoga courses and a lot of coaching courses, that came up almost by chance into my life. They were part of the journey that I took to get here, but they required a lot of self-analysis and therefore self-awareness. And I've been able to reflect on my journey, reflect on what I was good at in my past life, in my corporate world, and therefore the skills that I really need to bring in, or the skills that I should be focused on in my current world, in my current job, in my current entrepreneur state. And it's been really, really useful to have that work that I've done almost coincidentally along the course of the professional stuff was all the self-development. So, and I see a lot of fellow entrepreneurs do this, so perhaps it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, oh, it's fascinating. And I'm curious on the sort of journey, that personal growth journey and the business building journey, what's something you wish you would have known earlier on that you could give as advice to folks thinking about this path?
um, I would say the thing that I wish I would have known at the start is really how much belief it takes, and how important that is. So if you if you're someone that struggles with belief, or has a very inner critical voice, which is a lot of us, it's natural, it's how we're made, that is something to work on, something I'm still working on, to be able to lead yourself into an entrepreneurial state, into your own business, into leading your own thing. You need a lot of self belief.
Yeah.
So I would work on that.
Yeah, that self-belief and that resolve. And I'm curious, anything, that you would see people going into that would be like the wrong reasons to go into business on their own, right? Like that's just that, oh gosh, this is going to be a disaster.
Um, I always say money. I always say the biggest thing you should do it for is money, because although there's always potential when you go your own route to like make more money. It comes with a lot more effort to get to that stage, and it takes a lot longer than people expect it to take. That's why I talk about the 5 to 10 year roadmap for people, because people just see Instagram, social media, they see the end result without the journey. There's a guy called Joe Wicks who's a very successful body coach in the UK who calls it his 10-year overnight like success, which is so true, because it takes 5 to 10 years usually for a business to get there. And therefore, actually, if you're in it for the money, it would have been easier for me money wise to just climb the corporate ladder. That's where the money is. And although you're not necessarily in control of it, that's actually where it's easier. It's a much easier journey for money. So don't go into it if it's just for money, because it will take a lot longer.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, and so that's a little bit about, just what lights you up about your job and where the challenges are. In the next video, we'll learn a little bit about where you're headed in the future.